Hi, everyone, and welcome to our latest edition of the Expedition Through the Knowledge Metaverse podcast series here at EON Reality. I'm Jamie Justice. I'm Director of Education North America and Global Innovation at EON and Customer Success Department. With me, as always, is John Green and Renah Walsinger, both of Customer Success Department. And I can let them share a bit more of an introduction again when we go forward. And so, we were talking today. We're seeing a lot of change happening in the area of extended reality, virtual reality, and just our technology in general that are going to drive some things in a different direction, I think, than what we first expected. And what I'm getting at is the artificial intelligence and its impact in how we can build content using AI as a tool to help create that content. And kind of start us out in this discussion, we thought we'd just maybe talk amongst ourselves today and just start thinking about the potentials of what AI can bring to the teaching and learning process. And as always, I have to go back to my past. And many years ago, around 2003 or four, we were first starting to look at my time in Kentucky at how virtual reality would change teaching and learning. And we used a white paper that was a foreword was written by Bill Gates. And essentially, in that white paper, he was predicting that at some point in time, your refrigerator would be able to tell you that you needed more milk, or that you were low on this, or it could call you, or your thermostat could call you, and all that, of course, was the precursor to the Internet of Things and all that's brought to us, where we control so many things with apps. But really, it seems to me that all of that has come together. It's just like a lot of things we see in XR that people have seen it, but there's really been no true place or application where artificial intelligence specifically has been used in building and creating content by students or for students to facilitate learning in a unique and different way. And I really think that may be where the future comes together for all the visual tools that we use, but also to take the power of the visual tools and mix that with the loaded power of the internet and all the sources that we can locate there using an artificial intelligence means to search and build that content, that maybe we can really change the way people learn and make it more effective and more rapid, and build content that is maybe personalized, that they can use as they work through their learning process. So anyway, John and Marina have been doing a lot of work here in EON recently with some new visioning and directions that we're heading with artificial intelligence inside of the platform. And I thought it would be a good time for us to have a discussion and just start looking at what the future will look like using artificial intelligence as a way to inform and influence the teaching learning process using our tools such as the XR platform or Metaverse Builder and other tools that are on the horizon. So with that, I'm going to stop and just kind of turn it over to John and Rena, and let's talk a little bit about what this future looks like with AI coming into play inside of our virtual environment. So John or Rena, kick it off, whichever one, and kind of bring us up to speed with where we're going.
Well, first of all, it's great to be podcasting with you guys again, John and Jamie. It's a super honor, and I think I'd like to be doing this forever. You guys are a great team, and love talking about technology. I'll start off with what I started doing in the beginning of my career, which was having a big notebook with like copies. Remember those yellow pages, and you have to write really hard. So the yellow pages were your notes, and as a young engineer, that's how we did everything. We designed everything before we went on the computer. Now we're talking about AI. And I just want to start with this idea. So as teachers, we're talking about, oh, well, we better teach AI, like let's start an AI program. But when I reflect on that, I think about the same thing when, for example, Microsoft Office came on board. Let's teach Office and Excel. What is it? I don't know. Let's teach it. But it wasn't really, we didn't really teach it correctly till we started using it. And I kind of think AI is the same thing. Once we start using it, and we're going to talk about how we're going to use it here with EON, I think it's going to change people's understanding of how to teach it. And so we're going to talk a little bit about today about how the convergence of AI is converging with XR or augmented reality and virtual reality and what it is. Because there's a lot of kind of misperceptions. And as educators, we don't really know, we don't use AI in our normal lecture. We use our books and we use the internet and we do research. So AI doesn't come into it. As programmers and people who use APIs and other technical things, software people, APIs and augmented reality, machine learning, those are normal functions of operation. But it has not really, integrated itself into education until now. So we think this discussion is super important. So I'll just leave you with that thought and pass it to John.
Thank you, Renah. Thank you, Jamie. My name is John Green, Director of XR Experiences at EON. And this is a really interesting conversation. I think just over the last 5 years or so, we've all experienced a big boost in online education. There's so many courses available online. Just think Coursera, you can go browse and take online courses. A lot of these courses are 100% online, which is great. Now we have access to online content that before probably was hard to get, or you have to go to a class and get this content. With the rise of the MOOCs, everything online, now all of a sudden, not just 30, 40 students are in the classroom. You've got hundreds and thousands of students taking one online course. But so there's something that was lost in this transition, is that personalization of the syllabus. Because in any classroom, you have the advanced and the people that have more knowledge, less knowledge. But now with AI, which is, there's so many possibilities, making that personal, giving that personal touch at scale. So I think that's where the real magic is in implementing this for education, giving the teacher the benefit of being able to reach many people through this technology. So I think there's so many possibilities here that we can be starting to unpack and give examples, and this idea of personalizing the curriculum. And even thinking about EON, how we kind of parallel those paths. I feel like AI, this is a giant wave that's coming, but the idea to personalize a curriculum, select something that's relevant to a specific learner so they can have a personal experience, meet them at their level. I think this is the exciting direction where I see this AI in education going.
Yeah, absolutely. We've used AI at EON already to bring up knowledge and assessment portals, and that's one of the things that makes it easy to use. So on my phone, I just say the name of an object or model and it comes up, and then I just talk in the microphone on my phone and just say the name of each part or each label or each thing that I want to bring up information on, and it comes up. The AI comes in there because it searches the internet. So I don't have to leave my environment and go type and do a bunch of research. It just finds it, and then I can choose the best selection of content to bring in. So that's kind of the first version of it. Oh, go ahead, John.
No, I just got excited already, because 2 seconds into this thing, in this discussion, you both said something that's really important, I think, to bring to the light here. First of all, Renah, you talked about where you gave the example how we taught Word and other tools and things in the past, and I can always liken it to teaching woodworking. Did we really teach woodworking, or did we teach just the saw, the table, the joiner, the planer, and so forth, or did we just teach how to use Word? We needed to teach the whole thing of word processing, communication, development, product design, building, and so forth. And really, AI can open the door to allow us to do that. And then, John, that whole personalized thing, we don't even think about that. How do you make learning personal? And when it's personal, you're more apt to learn and do the things that go with it. And so when you customize your search, we're being very effective as facilitators of learning, using technology as the means to do it. It's not replacing our human input in the learning process, but it's guiding it in a unique way and really giving access to the tools that are needed to be successful in the process. So you piqued my interest with both comments as we got started. So I want to go back and let you talk more about it, but I did want to interrupt and say something to that effect.
So I'm a super Star Trek fan. So live long and prosper, everybody. And this is just if you are a fan or you watch Star Trek, you'll notice that they're always talking to the computer, which is really their personal AI. And the computer in that series can do all kinds of advanced things like cook your meals and instantly pop them out and take you to different planets and things. But also what it does is provide information in a way that's seamless. And that's what I find the most interesting. Because up till now, when we're preparing a lesson and like I prepare my stuff in film and audio, I look up things in the internet. Before that, books, text, a lot of magazines, because I love subscribing to magazines like Music and Computers to keep current. And that was the best way to keep current kind of before the internet. And I still do that as a habit. I still read some of those trade magazines in my area. But now, like, it would change, right? So if I'm doing a lesson on, I want to talk about the latest mastering plugins for audio, I can ask the computer, what are the top 3 mastering plugins for audio for film, and then bring up information about that right away. Now that brings my information to kind of more currency. So as a teacher, it's I'm still teaching the same things, but I get information kind of in a more seamless way. And the other thing about that is every time that I teach a lesson, and we all do this, we align what we're teaching with student learning outcomes. So I'm envisioning, we ask our assistant, which is an AI assistant, based on my course outline of record and my syllabus, my learning outcomes for today, what is some recommended content? And I'll get some information. And it might be something that I overlooked, or it might be something more current. And I can tell you the hardest thing, and I teach in the workforce education side, right? Applied sciences and film and audio. Hardest thing is keeping current for a teacher. And so I really think this is going to change the nature of that thing, and then allow you to update the curriculum much faster. And that's what we've been asked to do by all governments, especially in the last 10 years, as you see kind of the widening of the gap between workforce technology and teaching. And it's happening faster now because technology is moving faster and integrating faster. I think like every 3 years, everything kind of changes now. Maybe it's faster than that. So I kind of think that AI assistant to the teacher doesn't replace teaching, but it sure lets you find information faster, find more current information, and then ask those current questions with the help of artificial intelligence. So that's my take.
Renah, I think you made a great visual analogy. You're in the Star Wars ship, and what do they want to do? They want to explore. They want to go to other universes. But there's an admin component to exploring that has been taken care of by the computer. You've all seen those episodes where you just ask a question, it comes out with information as to where they want to explore. So I see the same thing happening in the teaching field, where there's an admin process to run in a classroom, online, on site, answering questions, frequently asked questions. That all takes up time and administrative tasks. But we want to enable teachers. We want to empower them to spend more time with the students, exploring, having engaging activities. So I see the AI just as much as in the Star Wars ships, where it takes care of all the questions. We want to do the same thing for the teacher, just enable them to really dive further, create more engaging activities so that they can enhance the learning process for their students.
Absolutely. I think just the convergence of technologies is what I find interesting. And I think there's one thing that maybe is easily overlooked is we're not just learning about AI, but, and this is something that is kind of in the technology side we see, but not as much on the teaching side. AI, these technologies have to do with how things work together in industry. So we're out here saying, okay, there's social media, there's APIs or how programs talk to each other, what programs need to integrate, how does the AI integrate? So we're over here trying to see how it all works together in the best way for education at EON. And so to my educator colleagues out there, it's not about let's just teach about AI. It's about how do you integrate AI into other things. And that's what I think that little difference I think is really important. And so when you're putting programs together using new technology, it's about that integration. And I think when students start learning about AI, it's not becoming a coder of AI. It's becoming a visionary, a visual person, how to integrate technologies that are now and happening in the near future. That's really where AI comes in. So, I don't know, James, if that brings anything.
No, I agree. And just that first chance of exploring. I had a little experience with some students last week, and I challenged them to model an environment. And one group of students modeled a spaceship, and we put it into a spatial meeting with EON. We all walked through the spaceship as our avatars, and as we come to each location, we had a knowledge portal that was AI generated that showed a video to talk about a nuclear reactor or whatever the technology was that we could highlight with that topic. And the experience was just immersive. It was real, and we blew their spaceship model up so large it filled the entire lab. So we're 4 or 5 avatars are walking around inside this virtual spaceship that they created themselves, and then we just looked and talked and exchanged, and also saw some of these knowledge portals take place in that environment. So yeah, the fact that it's so real time and so immersive is really a big factor of what a change that AI can play in the visual sphere of teaching and learning as well. And by that I mean through augmented reality and those types of applications, head mount display as well.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, and I do want to reference an article, I've been keeping up with this one website, acteonline.org, for I think like the last 20 years, being in the career and technical education, or TVET side of teaching. And one of the things that this recent article said, it's about tech changes and how we learn. And you can see it there scrolling on the bottom, but it says that it's forecasted that the pace of change will continue so exponentially that adoption of AR and VR will become necessary. Knowledge of a career path will not suffice. The ability to gain new information in the moment will be more valuable. So what this changes, and we've heard it from several of the education leaders we work with, it changes the way education is delivered and consumed. So those two things are super critical, because we learned a certain way of delivery with kind of lecture. We did flipped classrooms. We went into kind of PowerPoint, and now we're going to the next level of this education delivery that includes AR, VR, and AI. That is, it has a big change in the first variable of student engagement. So we're dealing with a new generation raised in a different way with different technology, and it's boring for them to learn the way that we learned. And so student engagement is super important, and every school definitely, looks at student engagement, retention, and success as three of the major variables. And so the AR, VR in institutions that are doing this are finding that about somewhere between 70 and 75% increase in student engagement. But now with the AI, that even bumps it up further, because now you can keep current and you can get information faster and more seamless. On the teacher side of that, I kind of see some tools that I'd love to see developed during my teaching career, like look at my syllabus and recommend a rubric for this section, so I can teach the AI on here's a rubric a style that I like, and then it incorporates my learning outcomes and my point system into rubrics, and then throw that right into an assignment. So I dream about things like that make my life easier. Another one that we're actually going to be doing, I think next year, is quizzes. So I love making up questions and the quiz answers, but I don't love making up all the wrong answers. Maybe that's just me, but it's like a lot of work. Like, what are these wrong answers, and should I make like dumb ones, or like real ones, or confusing ones, or tricky ones? So the AI can do that. You can put a right answer in, and it can make up all your wrong answers for you based on some parameters. So I think there's several things in there that immediately in the next year are going to make a lot of time saving. I would like to spend my time. I grade in Canvas, giving feedback to students, and that's and where I work, that's what we're expected to do. Like we have a certain amount of feedback and interactions with students that we do for every class, and so that's where I should be spending my time, right? Teaching, reflecting, communicating, and less time doing things where the AI can make that a lot easier for me.
Yeah, the speed to just development and engaging development is extremely powerful. John, what were your other thoughts?
Yeah, so that's a great article you mentioned, Renah, and I read kind of a similar article. I was researching that AI component. I came across this article from Inside Higher Ed, which talks about how AI will transform education. It gives so many examples projects that are currently happening. One of them is called Jill Watson from Georgia Tech University. They created this. They're actually tweaking this AI to help teachers, and also being a teaching assistant, to answer frequently asked questions. That way, freeing up, like you mentioned, the ability to free up the teacher to engage in other activities and spend more time with those learners. But some of these tasks can be freed up for the teachers. But this article really interesting. The author, Ray Schroeder, poses the question: how to scale, how to get personalized curriculum at scale. That's really where the magic is, the challenge that we want in education. how can you get a personal touch with so many students participating now in online education? Just read a quick quote here. He asks, how to meet the needs of all the students, not just the best prepared, not just the middle of the pack, not just the less prepared, but rather all the students in the class. How do you do that? And he talks about how AI can really be a catalyst and a game changer in this area, where this article brings up frequent assessment throughout this semester. So you kind of know where the student is at all times. Adaptive syllabus, measure gaps in learning. If you know the student is having a specific gap, how AI can take data and recommend a personalized syllabus to each student. So that's really things where things can get exciting in terms of really getting to what this article calls how to get someone to a mastery level in a specific area. Well, I think AI can really give a big push for students to get there and free up the teachers to do the same. Now I'm thinking about EON XR, how we're working with 3D models, how we can search for millions of models are out there between Sketchfab, CG Trader, we've got the EON library. There's so much content out there, how a teacher can really get that personal touch by looking at a specific model that might be relevant to a specific project for a learner. But then the content is out there. I think we're getting close to this area where we're going to further personalize the experience to attend to the learning style of each learner. So I think that this article kind of highlights that and is sparks so much imagination now into what's possible going forward.
I think you just revolutionized standardized tests, John. So just think, if you took a practice SAT or ACT or industry certification and the AI said, okay, well, you missed, right now all you get is, here's your score, you missed half. But what you could get, what you said is, here's a lesson plan to learn all the stuff that you missed, and then you go back and take it again. And that's really missing. And that's one of the reasons I'm not a great standardized test taker. I never was. And that's one of the things I just didn't understand. There's no feedback loop. You can get the same score 100 times and never learn why. And that's one of the things we should be learning from that experience and understanding how to learn those things that we're missing and improve if we want to, and then, take those again if that's what we're doing. But that AI assisted kind of individualized lesson plan based on some input would be transformational, I think.
That I agree 100%. And that took me back 100 years ago when I first started teaching. And for new teachers, you have the question, how do I teach the students who learn different rates and learn differently? And how do I, and back in the day, we shoot for the middle and hope that that everybody gets what they need. Well, that meant that the top were underserved, and the ones who were struggling more were not getting what they needed, and the ones in the middle were probably doing okay. Now, with this ability to meet different learning styles and thinking about topics like brain-based learning and how we all learn differently and at different, everybody can learn, right, but at different rates perhaps. And now we can adjust that instruction by using AI generated lesson plans that are personalized and adaptive to student needs, and then supplement that with visual experiences. We're covering a whole lot of the visual or the intelligences. And so, I mean, it's exciting stuff. It really is. And the big news is that it doesn't require any supercomputers or things that we're waiting to be developed to allow us to do it. It's here now. It's here today. And now it's just a matter of how we package it and we put it together in unique ways to really empower, faculty and students to learn and to build and create and do things in a highly engaging, back to Renah, keywords, that engagement, retention, and attainment for students. We can find ways to make it more effective using this technology. So it's been an exciting discussion here, I think, with what the future is going to be and what it's going to look like in the very short future. It's not, 20 years from now. It's not like when I was looking at Gates in 03 and 04 and we're thinking, 2020, we're going to have a talking refrigerator. We're a whole lot beyond that now in that rapid place. And so exciting times ahead here as we move on through the knowledge metaverse and also into this AI supplemented or supported teaching and learning methodology and the visual cues.
Yeah, so, thanks. I'm just super excited to see these AI products come out and just keep learning, and it's an opportunity to learn faster. So just fasten your seatbelts.
Definitely.
Get ready. Lots of changes ahead. And, here at EON, we're always adapting, developing new content as we see the need arise. And Jamie, you brought it up. What's great about EON, we really look at current coursework curriculum, learning outcomes, what is needed in education, what specifically for each courses are you attempting to teach? And what's great here, we really want to align to those teaching outcomes, the learning outcomes in each syllabus. So asking those questions that to begin with in our technology, really adapt to that and kind of work backwards. We really want to start with the objective and then take it from there. But you're going to see a lot of changes here and a lot of new exciting tools at EON going forward.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting year. And as you say, our vision has always been, I think, finding applications of technology for a purpose, and especially to help people learn, because we do believe learning is a human right. And we support that as an organization. And the big year is coming up for EON. A lot of transitions happening in 2023 that's just going to bring all this together. So I put a banner here at the bottom. Look for more at eonreality.com. I think you'll see our webpage updating a lot in the next few weeks. And so with that, I guess we will close out for this edition of our expedition through the knowledge metaverse here at EON Reality. On behalf of John and Renah, thank you for being here, and we hope that you watch and share this podcast with your friends and others. Have a great day wherever or whenever you are in the world. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.